In New York City, owners of unlicensed cannabis stores filed a lawsuit yesterday to challenge Mayor Eric Adams' crackdown on them. So why are there still so many illegal weed shops in states where the substance has been legalized? Earlier, we spoke with Ben Court, author of Weed Inc., The Truth About the Pot Lobby, and science advisor at Smart Approaches to Marijuana about the realities of marijuana policies. Ben Court, thank you so much for joining us. Great to have you back on the show.
Thanks again for having me.
Now, New York City is cracking down on illegal pot shops with estimates that there are almost 3,000 illegal ones in the city. Now, to begin, why are there these illegal options when in states where it is legal? Why is this?
It's really quite simple. It's the fundamental issue we've always dealt with this is there is not enough enforcement. There's certainly not enough resources that have been dedicated to enforcing these things. So you can have every law in the world and every code written that they have to adhere to, but if there's no one holding folks' feet to the fire, then you'll continue to have these situations. It exists in every state.
And given that, what has been the impact on communities, especially young people?
Well, I was in New York City 2 weeks ago, and of course, I've read the news and I've seen everything. That was absolutely unbelievable what I saw just walking around. I took some long, long walks when I was there, and the impact is you are normalizing this vice substance in multiple different forms of consumption to a much younger and, of course, to a much more vulnerable group of people. These shops exist mostly in economically disenfranchised areas. These shops exist mostly right where your young people are walking around. This is very intentionally put together. I read a story about pop-up shops that are outside of high school campuses. It's having a significant impact. And I think part of what we're communicating to young people, we're saying to them, hey, this is safe, this is okay, because it's been sanctioned, if you will. But then since we're not actually enforcing any of the safety mechanisms we've put into place, we've made a social contract with America that we haven't even begun to fulfill our end of.
And zooming out a bit, let's take a look at Thailand, which is reversing course. It used to legalize marijuana. That was supposed to help the country, but now it's actually planning on banning it again. What can we learn from what happened over there?
We could learn the same thing that we learned from Montana 30 years ago when they did this, from Alaska 30 years ago when they did this, from what I'm sure we'll see in Canada, from Amsterdam, for example, who's really cut theirs back, is that this doesn't work as a simple math problem where you say decriminalize and then allow retail and everything gets fixed. This works when people are really willing to dig into the details, like in Uruguay. And I think what you'll see here is, or what Thailand is showing us, is what we've seen so many times before. This is a really great and interesting idea on paper. Now put that into the reality of human nature, and it's an impossibility.